From Joseph Campbell, Becoming Fully Alive. People say that what we're seeking is a meaning to life. I think what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical level will have resonance with our innermost being and reality, so that we can actually feel the rapture of being alive. We can feel the rapture of being alive. So keeping the silence, and you stretch if you like to stretch, get some tea, and come back in a few minutes, and Anita has a talk prepared tonight.
Randy doesn't give you much time, does he? Get in there and gobble those cookies down in a hurry, and thank goodness you can bring the tea in here. I'd like to start tonight with a quote from Rumi. He says, "Observe the wonders as they occur around you. Don't claim them. Feel the artistry moving through and be silent." And really, it's 'tis the season. Now, we won't think about the tornadoes last night and that spring event. No, we will. We'll allow that too. But 'tis the season to really observe the wonders of life through nature. We live in this absolutely wonderful 7 acres in the hill country, and we have a fern grotto. There's stone walks, stone steps going down, and right beside that, the stone steps going down into the grotto, there is a old Mexican plum tree that blooms now with the mountain laurels. So sitting under that tree, I mean, if it was if it was a commercial smell, it'd be too strong. But sitting under that tree, it's quite wonderful, isn't it? And then we have about a half acre of land of mountain laurels. And so when they start blooming, then that's all you smell is these mountain laurels. And it's always amazing to me. It's the time of the year where I really get in touch to the wonders around me. So I invite you to do that too. It's a wonderful time. So as we practice mindfulness, we hear it, we read about it, and we practice it. And then we start experiencing what we've heard, the possibilities that we begin to experience within our practice. And one of the three characteristics that, as meditators, to hold dear to our hearts and to remember are the three characteristics of existence. Because these three characteristics, and you've heard Randy talk about them before, have deep, deep wisdom. And anytime we can experience one of these three, directly experience, it's truth. And they're anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And anicca is that everything arises and falls away. Everything's impermanent. Even the body. And so when we begin to see all of that phenomenon within ourselves, the mind and all the mind states, the sensations, all the things going on in the body, how things, the phenomena arise and they fall away. So that's no simple thing. Anytime that's experienced, it's a profound truth. And then dukkha is that life's full of being is unsatisfactory. There's 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. So, we're not designed to be happy all the time. We are living as human beings. And as living as human beings in this body, there's a whole range of experiences. And we want to experience them all. Truthfully, intimately, completely. Because that's the path to the complete happiness. A happiness that is who we are. And the last characteristic is anatta. When we see these things within us, in this human body, we begin, when we experience them in our meditation, we begin to see that's not who we are. So it loosens the attachment to this phenomenon of life, where it's more freeing, where you don't have to take ownership, but then you can focus on, who am I? Who am I? If I'm not all of this phenomenon, if this body truly is going to dissolve, what's left? And that's what we begin to touch. We begin to experience something quite natural, our Buddha nature, as we practice. So in studying the four foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha, sometimes known as the Buddha, points us to where to look. And so we've been looking. Now we're to the fourth foundation of mindfulness, where there is a comprehensive list of the basic organizing principles of Buddha's teachings. Their list. Have you noticed how much the teachings love lists? But there's three of those that I'm going to teach in the next several weeks. And starting tonight with the 5 hindrances or energies. Then we'll go into the 7 factors of awakening. And then last but not least, 4 noble truths. The Eightfold Path is in part of this teaching, but we've, as a group, just been through the Eightfold Path. So I probably won't teach it again in this session. So, hindrances. And others call it energy because of what a hindrance sometimes connotes. But they're just energies. And the reason the Buddha wants us to look at them closely, first within our practice, because they will arise, always have, will, regardless of how long you've practiced. They are the energies that directly get to the point of where they obstruct our clarity. So we know them. That's why we need to know them. And they're sense desires, wanting. It has a sensation in the body. Get to know wanting, what it feels like. Oh, this is wanting. And then the second one is avoidance or aversion. Don't want life to be like this. Want life to be like this. And these energies, they're a rub. Restlessness. This moment is just not quite enough. What can we add to this moment to make it? Well, we can't. It's as good as it gets in the present moment, where we live our lives completely. Doubt. Not only doubt about oneself to be able to do it, but doubt about the practice itself. When you try to tell somebody that you sit in silence on Monday night for 50 minutes, they think, why would you want to do that? And that's something that you can only answer yourself through doing it. What's so compelling about it? And then the last one is, we love this one. There's all kinds of Buddhist jokes about this one, sloth and torpor. But what it means is there's a numbness. We're not alert in our practice. So these are 5 energies to pay close attention to as we sit. And the reason they're so important is they arise in all of us all the time, but also they interfere in our clarity, and they can really be the main reasons that we stop doing the most wonderful thing on the planet to do for ourselves, meditating. So these energies are to be known. And in the practice first, but then what happens if you begin to see these energies quite clearly in your daily life? I want, I don't want, I'm restless, I'm doubtful. What else am I? I'm sloth and torpid. I'm all of that. Nothing's wrong with them. They're energies that arise and fall away. And so Sharon Salzberg, in her happiness book, one of our teachers one of the founding teachers of IMS, she calls them like the dwarfs, the 7 dwarfs. She says greedy, grumpy, anxious, slothful, doubtful. I can just see these little dwarfs in my mind, greedy and grumpy.
Well, there's 7.
Yeah, but there's only 5 hindrances.
Oh. Good.
So,
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. And there's always been, for us that have meditated, some of us who've meditated for a length of time, there's always these conversations about having multiple hindrance attack in one sitting. You can have them, they can all come to you through grace all at once sometimes. So know them, just be with them. And they're strong in the sense that they can carry us away. That's why we want to concentrate on these 5. They are strong energies that can just carry us away, and then we're sitting like a hen on a nest, We're not using our precious mindfulness to wake up. So we're looking for clarity and insights. And then that's where also we want to see what interferes. What is it keeps us from this clarity? So the Buddha uses the example of a pool of clear water that reflects our image. And he says with sense desire, it's that when it's present in the mind, it's as if the pool were suffused with a colored dye. Present moment with colored dye. So desires color our perceptions. There's not clarity. So when aversion is present, it's like boiling water, and we can't see clearly. We're all heated up by anger, and so there is a state of turbulence. So where's the clarity? Sloth and torpor, numbness, sluggishness are like the pool overgrown with algae. It's a stagnation of mind that prevents us from seeing clearly. And when we wake up to these energies in our practice, it's not that anything's wrong with them, but recognizing them, of course, enables us to not get lost in them. Restlessness and worry are like water when it's stirred up by the wind. It's tossed about by agitation. Have you ever had an agitated mind? Ooh, it's not fun. But to be lost in an agitated, that's even less fun. So, but recognizing it, which is a natural phenomenon, let it be. And doubt is like muddy water, where we can't see to the bottom and everything is obscured. So there's your 5 energies, your 5 hindrances. And what happens as we begin to focus on them, begin to identify them through our practice of mindfulness, they become the very vehicle to wake us up. So there you go. 5 hindrances, 5 energies. So I'm going to stop there. Randy, is there something you'd like to say?
Yeah, and when we practice mindfulness of the body, we can recognize those energies as sensations in our body. When we're sitting and we feel restlessness, you can Or you notice restlessness. I've got to get out of here. Or if he doesn't ring that bell, I'm going to kill him. You're feeling it. So you can feel what restlessness feels like in your body. And then as Anita was saying, you can see that if you pay attention to it, it doesn't stay the same. It changes. As sensations always change. So restlessness as sensation changes. In Nietzsche, you see it. So there's not a tendency then to cling to it, which is the dukkha. And then since it's moving and passing and changing, we don't have to identify with it either. That's the anatta. So they all work together. When there's wanting mind, you can feel what wanting mind feels like. It's almost like wanting mind is almost like leaning into the next moment. Like even when you're breathing, that's why sometimes I emphasize leaving the breath alone. Because sometimes you can notice even leaning into the next breath. You're not even finished with this one and you're waiting for the next one. So it's that kind of, we can feel that. And many times when we feel these energies, they're not very pleasant many times. We can also feel the unpleasant nature of these energies. But noticing them arise and pass away. That way, if we pay attention to them, we don't get completely caught up. So all of them work like that. Sloth and torpor, well, that's like you're sitting here, but you're just kind of going, oh man, just about to. Well, sit up straight. There's some antidotes. You can sit up straight. You can sometimes you can pinch your ear a little bit. You can open your eyes and let light in. It's okay. And you might wake yourself up. It's just about waking up. Because it made me think if any of those hindrances are present, you wouldn't be able to sit under that plum tree. Mm-mm. It would just be, like plum tree, okay. Back to busyness. And right. So, by being able to be with the present moment, with that kind of clarity, it's beautiful. And that's what our practice is really about. So the 5 hindrances I love the 5 hindrances. I think they're really cool. So if there's any list you want to hang out with, it's that one. Yeah.
But just like the tree, the beautiful tree, when we're with the people we love the most and want to be, sometimes we can't be with them because of the fact that our minds are somewhere else, it's stirring it up.
And back to the Joseph Campbell when he says, what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical level will have resonance with our innermost being and reality. We can actually feel the rapture of being alive. So the hindrances are part of our aliveness. So we don't have to try to get rid of them, we just pay attention to them. And they're like any other energy that arises. We go, oh, there's desire. What does that feel like? And it may last a while, and it's a big desire, it may last a long time, I don't know.
I can remember early on, maybe recent too, getting so angry and restless because I'm projecting that Randy's didn't set the timer right. And this is mostly at our home.
So we're sitting at home?
Yeah, home.
Okay.
And so sometimes I'll say, how long did we sit? It's like, how long did we sit? I just know he has fudged the time.
Sometimes I do.
But what happens is the turmoil, Well, what difference does it make? But that's just the way it goes.
Let's see if anybody has any questions or about the hindrances or the characteristics or your practice, walking, meditation, sitting. What's coming up for you? Nothing?
I have something.
Yes.
All of these hindrances have a flip side.
Yes.
And is there not just seeing and becoming aware of it, but also becoming willing to flip the desire to generosity
There are
aversion,
antidotes.
elusiveness.
Sure.
You know,
You bet.
do these
Yes.
as they arise. So as far as sensations, push it to another, or hope it becomes. In other words, if you're sitting there with aversion, or you're falling asleep and falling asleep or something, during meditation, is there a way to kind of turn it to the 180?
And yes, the answer to that is yes, and there's antidotes they're called, and I will get into those. I just didn't get into them tonight. But some, can you remember some of them? One was when Randy said the sloth and torpor.
Sleepiness.
Sleepiness is, stand up with your eyes. Aversion, sometimes coming up with instead of the negative, coming up with a positive of whatever we're pushing against, where it balances it. Can you think of any of the others? I'll teach all of them.
But really paying
About the
attention is the main thing, because once you start to notice them arise and pass away, then the natural nature of love and kindness arises in the absence of the hindrance itself. But if it's awful, if it's just and all of us have different kind of characteristics. Some of us are desirous types, and some of us are aversion types, and I guess some of us are sloth and torpor types. So if we're a real desirous type, a wanting type, then maybe generosity would be helpful. If we're an angry type, then metta, loving kindness, practicing that. If we see that coming up all the time, then practicing loving kindness for yourself, for others. If you're sloth and torpor, maybe a little more sleep. Exercise, sort of working with those energies in that way. Restlessness, that's a good one. Yeah. Doubt. Too. Sometimes you just have to sit with that doubt, and there's good doubt, and there's healthy doubt too. It's being not just gullible for everything, but being awake and listening and deciding for yourself about things that you hear and read. That's healthy doubt. The doubt that gets in the way is this: like Anita said, I'm just going to quit. And usually that has to do with expectations for our meditation practice. We're wanting something to get something out of it. We're not letting the meditation just do what it does. And because of those expectations, we're not getting where we think we should be, which is right here, which is nowhere. and then we get frustrated. This isn't. And that's why sometimes you see people come for a while, then they bail, and then you see them 6 months later coming back again. It's like, working with the big doubt. That's the doubt that that's, yeah. Yes.
And, we talk about desire and aversion and so forth. These are very general terms.
Yes.
But when we experience these things, we experience them in a very specific and particular way.
Yes.
In other words, I have desires about particular kinds of things. I have aversion to particular kinds of things.
Yes.
Right? And I think a lot of those things are largely grow out of my conditioning.
Yeah.
Right? From the time I was very, very little, all the way through all of my life experiences and whatever. Right? And so to some extent, I wonder if part of this, I sometimes think that part of this process is that you become aware of your conditioning, sort of, by being aware of what you have aversion to and have desire towards. You start to see that, and then it maybe lets go a little bit at least.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit like peeling an onion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is there something to that?
Yes.
And when we start to talk about, you're seeing these things coming up, there's a certain way that looking at them with some equanimity, so that we don't get upset when we notice that aversion, or we don't get upset when we notice that restlessness, or We don't get upset when we notice that desire. We just notice it. Here it comes again. I've seen it before, but there's a certain balance to being able to be aware of it. It's just not, doesn't have its punch anymore. It's not causing a reaction anymore. So I think is that what you're saying? That's what I'm hearing.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so we're noticing it, but it's not creating an automatic reaction like maybe it did years before.
Right.
I mean, as soon as it happened, we were ready to, go with it. But now there's some equanimity in noticing it. A little ease.
If that happens, it works against that doubt, because as you can see that play out in your life to where you say, oh, well, that would have bothered me a lot more back,
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Then that sort of feeds into, maybe I should get the tush on the cush a little more than
That's exactly right. That's why we call it a meditation practice. It really is. It's important to try to have a regular sitting practice as much as you can, so we can be still and see these things come up and pay attention to them. And then if we stay with it, we start to notice what you're describing. And if we just, I can't do this, I quit, then we're not going to really see those qualities. And Anita, when she talks about the qualities of mind, the factors of awakening, we'll be paying attention to the enlightening factors as well, those energies, as well as the hindrances. So we have those too. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question about the walking meditation.
Please.
Anita, you sent us some phrases that a monk, I don't remember his name.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Famous monk.
Thich
suggested.
Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh.
That's why I don't remember it. I would like to know the relationship, what is the relationship between repeating this and walking?
Well, he's Zen.
Okay.
So in this tradition, we don't really practice have a saying that goes with the walking. But can you answer that one?
Yeah, and we've walked with Thich Nhat Hanh before. It's beautiful, and he loves to, talk about walking on the earth and the feet touching lightly. It's beautiful. Sometimes play around with that and just see if it's helpful to you. And in the traditional walking meditation practice that we do in Vipassana, instead of paying attention, to the sensation of the breath, we pay attention to the actual sensations in our feet as we move them. So, and sometimes and I don't know if this is getting into a little bit of what's called noting. You know what that is, noting? It's actually, using like a little cloud-like note so that you're bringing your full attention to the activity that's happening. So when you notice your heel coming up, your foot coming up, little note lifting. When the foot's moving through the air, you notice moving. And when the foot's touching, you note placing, lifting, moving, placing. But they're not so much like the Thich Nhat Hanh phrases that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's what I've substituted for. I feel the movement and everything, and I'm doing the slow movement, but I use the phrases.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what does it mean, in the ultimate I dwell?
Well, it means
The
that.
end of it.
Well,
Yeah.
I think what he's referring to there is in awareness I dwell.
Yeah.
So it's just like in all of life I dwell. So it's like what's really walking is life itself. It's not really me that's walking or Thich Nhat Hanh that's walking. It's life that's walking. It's like he's being walked rather than walking. Is that?
Just wondering.
Yeah. I love
If I'm
it.
saying it, I'd like to know what it
Yeah,
means.
so it's like letting go a little bit further back, so you can just feel like, you can almost get a sense that, like everything else, the planets and the stars and the wind and the rain. It's just doing its thing. And so when the body's moving, it's like nature is moving. It's like the universe itself is stepping and moving. You have nothing to do with it.
I was hoping it meant I was enlightened.
You are.
You are. You just don't know it.
And maybe you do know it. Yeah, so.
The ultimate, I thought, well, must be enlightenment. So maybe if I keep doing this, I'll just be enlightened.
And we like to say for people, experiment, try it, see if it works, see how it feels, if it helps in the walking practice and with spaciousness and loving awareness, and do it. It's rich, yeah. Practice and experiment.
Yeah, you get to modify and adjust any way you want to. And our teachers always said to us, you can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
You just can't do it wrong.
And if it sounds like you're up against a brick wall, you can always send us an email. We can talk about it. So that's helpful too. And then that's one thing we do is we try to make ourselves available through the internet or phone calls or whatever. So if doubt gets real heavy or something, you can call or talk or write. I have several people that regularly check in, just see how things are going. So it's really a lot of fun. Anybody else?
I just want to talk about one wonder. I was talking about, what was it? I said that Rumi said, observe the wonders as they occur around you. Okay. In this bowl, in this plate, Randy and I experienced a wonder, did we not?
Oh, we did, yeah.
In this plate, Cloudy over here made us a mole in a pastry. Listen, when we ate this, I had a salad and every, condiments with it. I said, I can't eat anything else. This is the only thing that I could eat. So I didn't eat any of my other stuff, but I ate the whole half.
There was tears rolling down our faces. It was a spiritual experience.
That's what Randy says. This is a spiritual
So you
experience.
can find, like water for chocolate. It was beautiful.
Oh
So
my
thank
goodness. Oh.
Yeah.
Now that was, and I'm so thankful that I could be with that wonderful taste and wonderful recipe. Yeah.
They have everybody's mouth watering.
Yes. Well.
For nothing.
The mole what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that sauce?
Yes.
With chilies and chocolate.
Right, but it was just the mole sauce.
With chicken.
Chicken.
Oh.
And it was in
Oh.
a pastry.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's good.
It was like mole I've never had, which is my favorite. And it was thick. It wasn't like a sauce. It was.
It wasn't water because it has to be thick so it doesn't run.
Yes. Yeah. I liked it.
Howie Cohen calls those experiences temporary enlightenment. It comes and goes.
It does. And that was it.
So another way of coming awake is through the Metta practice, and we usually end with a Metta meditation, which is loving kindness. Very, very beautiful practice, and you can use traditional phrases as a way to develop concentration as you practice. You can also feel the loving kindness in your heart, and you can have a felt sensation of these phrases as well. So we'll begin with just letting the body relax, lean back a little bit. You don't have to sit straight. And just let your eyes close if you want. Well, again, feel your body. This miracle of being alive, really. See how the body's breathing. A sense of relaxation. And when you say the phrase or whisper the phrase to yourself or just listening, let it echo back like you're saying it into a canyon and it's coming back and echoing and covering your whole body. You can feel. May I feel safe. Free from danger and harm. May I feel happy and content. May I feel well in body and mind, and may my heart rest with ease and well-being. May I feel safe right now. May I feel happy. May I feel well. May I live with ease. Just sitting in loving kindness. And offering loving kindness to everybody here tonight. May you also feel safe. May you feel happy and content. May you feel well in your body and mind. May your heart rest with ease and well-being. Our loving kindness is being shared with you, so let yourself love and be loved at the same time, completing the flow. And the heart has no boundaries, so now including all beings, your family, your loved ones, your friends. Many images, let them come into your heart. Your pets, people you don't know so well, like at the store, grocery store. All beings wish to be safe. May all beings feel safe. May all beings feel happy and content. May all beings feel well in body and mind. And may all beings rest with ease. Really nice being here with you tonight. Have a safe drive home.
Have a good week.
Yeah.